Hello, everyone, and welcome to Jump Up Supercast, the only podcast on the internet to have died doing what it loved, playing the Vita. I'm Will, and joining me this week, Brandon.
I was playing Danganronpa.
Ills.
Just slit my throat now.
Noah.
R.I.P. Vita.
And Seth.
I died before I could complete Corpse Party. Now I'll never know how it ends!
All these weeb games.
That's all there is on the Vita. What the fuck?
How dare you? There's Hotline Miami, as featured in The Last of Us 2.
So true.
So how's everyone doing this week?
Good. Thinking about Vita now.
The world is
Sweating a lot.
Sweating a lot?
Yeah, it's too hot.
Oh, I see. The summer times have come. We would be like a week away from E3 right now, boys.
No.
And now look. Now we have nothing but the heat.
Damn.
Though we are still trapped inside mostly.
Now I wish I did die playing my Vita.
Well, there are ways. Would you
can be
prefer to be
arranged.
stabbed in the neck?
I just want to die peacefully while my Vita battery dies at the same time, you know?
Oh my
It's a
god.
Romeo and Juliet situation, right? Like one can't live without the other.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we've been alluding to it. Let's just get into new stuff this week. We won't linger on any of these too much, probably, but there was a Last of Us 2 State of Play. Now, some of you might be worried. The game has leaked, right? The story is basically known at this point. We're not going to go into that. We don't want to ruin it for anybody. There are people in this podcast that don't know the spoilers. They've made it so far, so be nice about it. But this was probably going to be the last time that we're going to see a big showcase for The Last of Us 2, because this is, when we're recording, would have been the day it came out originally. Weird how that stuff works out. But 20-minute state of play from Sony. I would not say major, like, revelations, right? They weren't holding back, like, a secret card they're pulled at the last minute. But in stuff that we mentioned before in the podcast, they went over again, such as, hey, stealth is more analog now. You can move faster than you did in The Last of Us 2. You can like slip through cracks in walls and things like that. So you have more options with your traversal.
Yeah.
And then just 10 minutes of just uninterrupted video gameplay. Which is cool. I think they've done a similar thing when they first unveiled the game, right? Just here's 15 minutes uninterrupted, and they clearly think that works, and largely it does. So, I mean, Saf, I know you watched it. Did you have anything that you gleaned from looking at it?
I just liked how they evolved the stealth gameplay. Like, they've added a lot of different new elements and mechanics to it that piques my interest quite significantly. Like, It looks more dynamic and it looks more engaging. And you're going to have to really, really plan around unexpected events, I guess. Like, it looks to me that way. Like, I really like what they've done with, like, the addition of the dogs, which is fun.
Yeah.
And also the fact that they've made this, like, they mentioned it in this state of play. I don't know if they mentioned it before, but the fact that these environments are huge and big, and they just look so fucking amazing, and I would love to, like, jump in and explore and find every single crafting material I could just to fucking hunt some people and murder them.
Yeah. I mean, I think sort of throughout this gen, right? Naughty Dog's not made like a new IP, right? They made an Uncharted and then Lost Legacy, right?
Yeah.
And then now this. But especially in Lost Legacy, they experimented with more like open-ish areas, right? Not like an open world, but like an area where there's more space to sort of explore than a lot of their normal games. And they seem to be applying that to The Last of Us 2 in a way that's interesting, because obviously in stealth games, I think a lot of the best stealth games, you can sort of have different, there isn't just one way to get through the area, right? There's a lot of different ways. There's a lot of different potential routes you can take. And
Like
so,
Metal Gear
as much as
Solid.
anything else. Yeah, like Metal Gear Solid. And I think that more so than The Last of Us 1, there seems to be that potential there of like, oh, I might want to replay just to sort of, purely for like discovering new ways to get through these environments.
Yeah.
In a way that's really cool. Saf, I want to ask a question of you, because I've been squaring off with this, right? And you're a guy that, you try not to expose yourself to too much, I don't know if crass is the right word, media, right? How do you feel about the level of violence that they're showing in The Last of Us 2? Does it throw you off in any way? Because I've seen some people be like, wow, we're getting like real close to just like, this feels like an actual person just died in front of me.
Yeah. That's something that
Eh?
I've that's been something that I've been noticing for like quite a while now in terms of like shit gets really fucking brutal. And it's one of those things where it's like I don't know I don't know how well I will probably take it. The more advanced the technology becomes and the more crazy it gets with kills and shit. Like like I'm afraid of like the next fucking Mortal Kombat game. Because it's just gonna be fucking brutal as shit. But it's something that I've been thinking about quite a bit. And it is something that I'm kind of concerned with as well. Like maybe there is a limit as to how much how extreme it can actually get.
Sure.
It's interesting that you compare Mortal Kombat to something like that because, well, I mean, The Last of Us is like usually taken more seriously, like with the story and like the narrative and everything. Whereas with Mortal Kombat, it's just like, punch his head off, rip out his spine. It's like it's a completely different like audience.
It's hyper violent,
like,
right? Like,
yeah.
I mean, because Last of Us 2, I mean, they said they're like, we want it to feel more real, right? Was what they and so like, I think I'm very interested to see how it works. You said if this game is 40 hours, if that will like wear on you, right, with time. Like even in that little demo, like you kill someone and like they're just like gurgling on the ground for a little bit as like blood's filling up in their lungs, and you're like, man, that's a lot. There's a lot of that.
Yeah.
Do you know what's the worst part about it? Like there was a moment in that actually video where it was one of the leaders literally just said to their fucking crew, it's like, oh, this person, you need to clip her wings. So they kind of put her down, and this guy was about to hammer her elbow and fucking destroy it, and they cut away from this. And it's like, wait, that was too far? How fucking brutal?
At least stabbing the girl playing the Vita in the throat was we could hear.
Yeah. It's fucking weird as shit.
I think... Yeah, because it's intentional, right? You don't make that stuff by accident, right? And clearly they're just going for it, right? Like this, I think it's an artistic statement, and like it's fine, like you can go for that, you know. But I think it'll be interesting because personally, it's just like I don't know if I may wait on The Last of Us 2 just a little bit until I'm just like, hey man, you know, there's a lot of like macabre stuff going on already. I may like wait a little bit, like before I dig into it. So. But anyways,
personally, I can't wait until they remake Manhunt 2. With these graphics, that'd be great.
Oh boy,
yeah. I was instantly thinking about Manhunt 2 as soon as we started the topic of has violence gone too far in video games, and that's the first thing that pops in my head is just Manhunt 2 because that's the game that like really really pushed the envelope. Like
it was banned in the UK, was it not?
It was, and it was AO in America, I'm pretty sure, right?
The original build of it was AO, and they had to censor it to be able to have it released in store shelves for an M rating.
Yeah.
It's funny because
I think
the first Manhunt was really brutal already. So
yeah.
But it's this is obviously I think it's just like this is going to be their big release for the year. Yeah, they're doing it. But yeah, so that was like I said, we don't want to go too in deep on this stuff because it's so close. We don't want to spoil it for people. But we did get another report, another Sony related thing from the I'm back, so I have to say his name, Jason Schreier. He works at Bloomberg now, and I'm kind of screwed because I don't have a Bloomberg subscription. I've already used all of my free articles for the month, so if there's any more scoops, we're just screwed.
You should have donated to his campaign.
I should have.
Doesn't he tweet about it?
Huh?
Anyway. I saw him tweet about this, so I think he usually does anyway. It's like
I try to like read in case there's little details that I miss, but but it was about the upcoming. We've been saying when's Sony going to talk? The answer is probably by the time you hear this in a couple days. June 3rd is the date that Schreier has said Sony is right now. We're a week away, so I can't imagine it'll change that much. Going to be doing their first gameplay, right? For PS5, which is, we've said before, Microsoft has been a little bit more forthcoming with a lot of the information, right? They've technically had their first showcase, which I think was disappointing for people because I don't think they set expectations properly, right? But from the Schreier article, we know that this will be. Don't expect price. Don't expect a release date. Don't maybe even expect what the console looks like. It's mostly going to be games. and mostly going to be just like showing off next-gen games running on PS5 and how they're going to look. So, knowing that, is there anything that you're like that could get you anticipated? That could you be like, man, I cannot wait for that PlayStation 5 if they bring it next week. Just to get the ball rolling.
I
The
mean,
one that we've talked about.
I want to see some good like releases go with it. Like,
Sure. Is there like, I mean, for example, like the Silent Hill rumors, right? There's the same people that leaked the initial stuff about the project said, hey, the announcement's probably coming soon, right? Would so, like, what would like a Silent Hill, like, would that be like a thing that would get you be like, man, PS5 Silent Hill exclusive? That's something worth looking at, right?
I mean, if it looks good, so that's the thing. Like, Silent Hill alone won't get me excited. Silent Hill that looks like a return to form would get me excited.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
yeah, if it was like Silent Hill 1 style, I'll be like, yeah, I'll be totally down.
Yeah,
Well,
because we are at the point where
not
there's probably
to
more
think,
bad
well,
Silent Hill games than good.
If they're
At
going
At this
to,
point,
if they're going to take forever to make another part for Final Fantasy VII, I wouldn't mind like a port of Final Fantasy VII remake to be put onto the PlayStation 5, especially when the original game has quite a few issues in terms of like textures and loadings, etc. So I would like to see
Mhm.
like a more complete version of that be on the PlayStation 5. That would be fun.
God damn it!
Sure.
When are they gonna remake the remake? I'm tired of this shit.
That'll be a 2-decade-long project.
yeah, I don't know about you guys, but I want to see Final Fantasy X and X-2 put on the PS5 because what's a PlayStation console now without those two games on it, right?
It's the one constant in our lives.
Yeah.
It
But-
would if the PS5 came out with a new Monster Hunter game, I'd buy it day one.
Ooh.
You know, that's a good question. I mean, that's a good shout. Like, I mean, World was 2018. They had Iceborne obviously in the middle, but I'm very curious as to what, you know, when we're going to see the next Monster Hunter, right? Because obviously they're still buds with Capcom, right? Like all of their RE3 got announced at a State of Play, RE2 got announced at their E3, right? So that makes sense.
Man, I'm trying to think of
Do you
PlayStation
expect
first
any new
party.
IPs from Sony? First party?
I do expect a new IP. I feel like every generation they always at least. I feel like they start with a new IP a lot of the time. Right?
Mm-hmm.
They previously announced a new IP. I can't remember what it was called. God Hand? Not God Hand.
Godfall.
Godfall. That's what it was.
Godfall
Not
is,
them,
but that's
though.
no, that's
not
developed by
Sony.
Gearbox.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, that's from Gearbox. Oops.
Yeah.
yeah.
And the other thing we know is whatchamacallit, Blue Point is who have remade Shadow of the Colossus. They remade a bunch of other games. They're considered the best in the biz at it. Are doing something they said is bigger than they've ever done before. So the common speculation is Demon Souls because Sony owns Demon Souls, right?
Oh, God.
So like another Bloodborne kind of thing.
No, like a
Potentially.
remake of Demon Souls.
Like a remake.
Oh,
of
actual
Demon Souls.
remake of
Yeah.
Demon Souls. Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they said they've confirmed it's a remake because that's what we're good at. We're gonna stick with it.
They're like the Grizzo of apparently of PlayStation.
yeah.
Demon Souls have been rumored to be remade for quite a while, though, hasn't it?
It has. Yeah, it's ever since it blew up, people are like, this is this weird side game that not a lot of people played on the PS3, and so, you know, it's it feels like it, that, but who knows, right? It could be something else. We don't. It's not clear. But yeah, I mean, I don't want to go too
What
long.
about that?
Sorry.
What about that one that was going to be from Software and with George Lucas?
The Elden Ring?
Elden Ring.
yeah.
That's
First one.
multi-platform, but I mean,
Oh, it's multi-platform.
it was shown off at Xbox E3, so I have a feeling they have some sort of deal with Microsoft, but who knows?
Who knows?
Sure.
Yeah, that
Mm.
that's super not clear. I guess one final thing. So I noted at the start. Apparently, the game of chicken that Microsoft and Sony are playing about naming a price is just continuing. They neither of them are blinking.
Yeah.
You won't know
That's
until the
gonna continue.
day of.
Yeah, you're gonna be in the store, and be like, "Oh, it's 500." Okay, I guess that's what it was.
I do want to call out Sony though on one thing.
Oh,
Because I'm just thinking about it now. A lot of people criticize Nintendo a lot, right? for Nintendo. And I feel like I don't see this on Sony's end because people will say, Nintendo, you got all these IPs. You got F-Zero. You got Ice Climbers. You got Chibi Robo. You got Pikmin, right? And they say, like, you sit on them and don't make games for them. You bunch of idiots. And people complain and whine. But where the fuck are the people at complaining about all these IPs that Sony has that they don't do shit with? Where the fuck is my goddamn, like, Ape Escape? Where's my Twisted Metal?
That is the one. Yeah.
Where is my Gravity Rush? You know what I'm saying? Give me more of that. Why you just keep making the same fucking Where's my Sly Cooper? Where's my Ratchet and Clank? You know, you're really dropping the ball on all this shit, bro. And then nobody's complaining about it. So I'm going to step up. And where are they at? Bring them out in PS5, please. And
I would pop huge for Ape Escape. I would be very excited.
I know you would. That's why I said it, bro. I'm looking out for you.
Yeah.
Jack and Daxter, where's that? How did that series die? I'm so surprised.
Yeah. See, there's plenty of them. They're just sitting on.
Did Little Big Planet have new games recently?
It had 3, which was 2015, but it wasn't developed by
I feel like that's what they do,
Molecule.
right? They like pop off 3 on a fucking console and then they just leave it.
Well, 3
right?
was on PS4.
Oh, fucking who?
But it wasn't made by Media Molecule. It was made by Sumo Digital, right?
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. Is like they
shit,
do a bunch of those because a lot of times those developers move on, right? Like Sly Cooper, Sucker Punch moves on and makes Infamous, right?
Yeah.
And then they have a lot of times they bring in another developer to try to work on those games.
I mean, not just Sony does that. I mean, Microsoft did it with like Gears of War and like Halo.
Yeah.
You know, 100%. It always happens. Like the original developer will make like 2 or 3 and then just move on. So they're like, well, we want to kind of keep this franchise going. But I feel like just Sony has a lot of IPs that I think just go, you know, just kind of sit there and they don't do anything with. Mm-hmm. Or maybe their last entry was kind of shitty, so they just say, well, we're never doing that again, just like Nintendo does. So
yeah. I don't know. There's a lot of... It's funny because there are certain companies that are notorious for like... I mean, I think Nintendo was outright with Ziplash. The director was like, if you don't buy this game, Chibi Robo might not be coming back, right?
Yeah, but let's make a dumb one. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, and it's just like, I feel like that happens a lot behind the scenes. Obviously, it has to happen behind the scenes, right?
Yeah.
And so there's just a lot of times where it's like, well, we did a Jack and Daxter racing game, and no one bought the racing game, so clearly no one wants it. And you're like...
Or we made an Ape Escape on the PSP, but nobody bought it. So it's like... Okay.
So it can be dumb sometimes. But yeah, we'll see. Sony has quietly like their studios have grown. Like Guerrilla's grown a lot this gen, right? But a lot of their smaller studios have been shut down or folded into those bigger studios as part of it, right? So I'm kind of curious if they'll have a lot for launch or not, right? Because they've had a lot of big releases in the last couple of years, right? Like Sony Santa Monica with God of War is like, hey, don't expect to hear back from us until 2022 at the earliest, basically, right? Like they said that when God of War came out, and like, you know, Naughty Dog obviously putting out a game this year, and Sucker Punch is putting out a game this year. Like besides Horizon, maybe, right? Like Horizon 2, I don't know what else their big names studios would have, but I mean, maybe they'll be maybe I'll be surprised.
Find out.
We're gonna find out.
We're making a new Resistance finally. Here we go.
That's a game that got 3 on a console. That's wild to me, right? We would not have gotten 3 Resistances this gen. No. Not at all. Besides that, though, a few other little odds and ends. There was a direct. Oh. A direct, huh? Yes, a wholesome direct, of course. What else would it be?
Not a real direct. Come on.
It's wild to me that they can call it a direct. I thought Nintendo might have some copyright on that, but I guess not.
No, they even used a very similar format and font and everything.
Yeah.
But doesn't what company does this during E3? Is it Devolver?
Devolver Digital does it as like a parody, right?
Devolver Direct, right?
Yeah, they're all very direct. This one's played more straight, but the whole gimmick is, hey, we're gonna be seeing a lot of these right over this summer, right? Of sort of we're putting these together, we're getting a bunch of games, and we're just gonna show them off in one sort of chunk. And we put this together in the last month and a half, but we hope you like it. And the theming of this one is obviously, as the name would indicate, they're all wholesome. They're all just feel good video games, except for a couple where you might feel bad.
Fucking snore, putting me to sleep.
Was there
my
anything
games.
that did not make you sick in the 50 games they showed? Was there anything that you looked at and thought, "Whoa, that's pretty cool"?
Yeah, there were.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
a good 80% of them, or maybe 90%, had fishing in it.
Yeah, it doesn't have fishing. Is it a wholesome game?
That's a good question. It's very funny to me because it did sort of expose like what are the things you do in video games that like aren't violent in nature, and it's sort of like you fish and you farm. And,
Yeah. And you have pastel colors.
yeah, you have a lot of pastels.
And fucking animals.
Yes.
Not fucking animals, but animals. Sorry.
Just-
Anybody
well, I mean,
Well, you don't know. Maybe those games have that kind. No.
in the farming games, they might. You know, you got to.
Well, that's true.
Jesus.
What sort of wholesome are you fucking looking at right now?
The animals are fucking each other and making. Come on, bro.
Yeah, I didn't think about that at all. To be
Yeah.
real with you,
Oh my god.
This is taking a turn.
you know where they don't fuck is in Ooblets. It showed off. It was shows there.
Yeah.
All Ooblets. I've been waiting for you for 5 years.
Yay.
Which I liked it. I thought it looked good.
Was that the one that had the trailer that had the girl that looked like she belonged in Jet Set Radio?
Sort of, yeah.
Yeah.
Sort of. They fight in dance battles, so there is a Jet Set Radio vibe, right?
Okay.
And you farm. It's like Pokemon, but instead of catching them, you farm them. And you grow these little Ooblets, and they fight in dance battles because they're not going to kill each other. Come on, look at these guys. They're not
Yeah.
violent.
They're wholesome.
What are you gonna do, PETA?
What are you gonna do? But was there any?
They'll find a way to complain about it.
I like the first game they showed. I liked a few games, but the first game they showed, Button City. I liked the visuals and style of that, and they're like,
That's the one about the little. They're trying to save their arcade.
They're trying to save the
Oh,
arcade,
yeah.
and that's something I can get behind. And they also said it was inspired by '90s kids movies like Mighty Ducks and Little Rascals, and I was like,
Little Rascals
That's
was a weird
fun.
shout.
yeah, that's pretty fun. I like that. That seemed cool. So that
Yeah.
I like that. That caught my attention. I like Snacko. It kind of looked cool. It was like a 3D environment, but you have this little 2D sprite of this little fat cat.
Little cat.
And you were fishing and shit and farming. I mean, that's it. But I like the cat. And
You really like Calico, huh? Just all cats.
That game, didn't really like that game that much. But
Wow, you hate cats.
hey, don't put words into my mouth. Chicory, I thought looked a colorful tail looked kind of cool too. I like
The coloring book aesthetic of it.
Yeah, that was a really cool idea.
Mhm.
That was visuals are really
And,
charming as well.
Yeah, exactly. The visuals are really cool looking, and then Spiritfarer, of course. I mean, I think we talked about it on this podcast, and that.
Yeah.
looks
Honestly,
that
really
looks
cool.
really good.
I thought it looked worse this time around. I don't know.
Worse.
Wow.
Yeah, I liked it more the initial reveal. I don't like the way it looks right now, but we'll see.
Okay.
We'll see. I mean, I still think it looks cool. I mean, I played the demo and I thought it was pretty cool.
I was personally impressed by the way it looked as well. Like it looked really,
Yeah.
really fun as a platformer as well as like visually enticing.
I don't think it has too much platforming in it, but yeah, it's interesting. It's like you build your ship, and the basic thing is that these spirits need to pass on in the afterlife. There's like people who have
Mhm.
died, and to pass on into the afterlife, you have to fulfill their last wish. So you
Sure.
go around and help these spirits out, and it's kind of cool. Game I didn't like. Bird Alone, I had no idea what the fuck was going on. And
It's just a bird talking to you.
He's
That
alone.
was they showed it was I was like portrait, and I was like, this is playing on an iPad. And
yeah,
it is.
as soon as I saw it was a mobile game, I was like, yeah, nope.
Yep, that's exactly.
A little strange is they
it's
had
funny.
there was quite a few games that were on
Yeah.
Apple Arcade already.
Yeah, and there was the one that I was like, what was it? Me and Noah were watching it, and there was the Takoto Hako and Friends or whatever, and it was
Uh-huh.
like these creatures walking around in real life, and I was like, man, I wish the game really looked like this. That'd be really
Yeah,
cool.
this AR. They tricked you.
Yeah, I was like, oh, okay, I guess it does, but I hate it.
Yeah.
I liked Little Witch in the Woods. It's just a little cute,
Yeah.
very cute
Yeah.
little game
Yeah.
where you're playing as a witch.
I was
I
gonna say
like that
that.
as well. That was really good.
Hmm.
I personally enjoyed A Space for the Unbound. That seemed like an interesting little.
Yeah, I like that one too. That one
Yeah,
dope.
yeah, that looks cool. It's like
Was that the one where there was the 1 to 2? There was the back to back of. Is that the one where you're like going through your memories? Help me out on this one.
It was like two
No,
kids,
that was
two
the
teenagers.
one before it. That was
Okay. This is one more like an
past
anime.
something. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, I also like that one.
When the Past Was Around is what it was called. Yeah.
Yes,
No, Space
I
for the
also
Unbound
like
was
that
the pixel game with the teenagers and they're at the movie
Yeah.
theater and like.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was weird. Like it
looks like-
definitely felt like a Pixar animation. I was like,
No, not that game. It's
Oh,
like
you think
pixel
it was-
art. It's pixel art.
Oh, actual Pixel. Okay.
Yeah. No, and it
I
had
thought you
like
meant Pixar. Okay.
it looked very much like the animation like art style kind of reminded me of Valhalla, like the way the characters looked. And I don't know
Sure.
if
Yeah.
if it's similar.
And also there's a it looks really cool. I was really into that one. I played I didn't beat it, but I played a fair amount of a game called like The Friends of Ringo Ishikawa earlier this year, and it sort of has a similar vibe, right? Of just like, hey, like you're just a high school kid, just palling around with your friends, walking around a city. It's more of a beat 'em up than this game looks to be, right? But I had similar vibes, and I'm into it. But yeah, I don't. Any more that you want to shout out?
Yeah, I was gonna say I like Rainy Season because at first I was like, oh, this looks really dumb, and then it was like, oh, hey, I'm a monster and I'm just watching TV, and I was like, okay, I kind of like this now.
Yeah.
That one looked very interesting, definitely.
Yeah. At first I was like, oh, I'm bored, but then I was like, oh, okay, now I like it.
I like one of the first ones they showed, Errand Boy. Remind me a little bit of Zelda.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that.
There was straight up an Octorok. I saw that and I was like, that's just an Octorok.
You're an Octorok.
I am. You found me out. And there was one that was like, hey, the game takes place in an old folks' home, and I was like, I'm not playing that one. That's too sad.
Yeah,
I was like, one way that this is gonna go.
It was a dating sim. It's a dating sim.
No, there's another one. There's the dating sim's already out on like
Later
Switch.
Daters, right?
You can play it.
Later Daters.
Later Daters.
Yeah. Okay, so that one's
I was thinking of Wayward
I
Strand.
know which one you're talking about. Then you're like a woman working at an old folks' home.
Yeah. You're visiting or something, but I was like, I'm not gonna deal with these old people dying.
Well, that was the one where the doctor comes in and asks us if everything's good. And, yeah.
That one's probably gonna be sad. The sizzle reel at the end had some interesting games too. Like I like Melon Journey too. That looks cool because the Game Boy graphics. And then the like pushy pulley, whatever. What the hell was that one? It looked like a puzzle game. I can't remember what it was called. Pushy and pulley in Blockland or something.
Yes.
Almost like Bomberman. But then they had like some really just weird games that were like unpacking, where you just unpack shit. And I'm like, what? That is just an odd idea for a video game. And then like Weaving Tides, where it's like, it looks like it's very odd. You're like,
it's kind of like a puzzle. Like you're like a manta ray. But the whole thing is like you have like a ribbon trail behind you, and like you dip under and above this like the floor, which is like also like made of weaving, and you like weave a path.
Yeah, so like you're knitting and shit.
Yeah. That was a weird looking game. I mean, maybe it's actually good. I don't know. You know what I mean? It's hard to tell, but visually it's cool.
I forgot they had a game about old dogs. Specifically, it's just you go to a place with a bunch of old dogs, and I was like, I can't deal with old dogs. You think I can handle old people? I can handle dogs.
There were a lot of animals everywhere.
If one of those dogs dies, come on, bro. You can't put that in a video game.
Come on, I'm crying already.
Yeah. There's one. It's a weird choice because they didn't really show much about it. It's literally just the spirit and the mouse, and it was just literally just like a.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's
a mouse that becomes electric, but isn't Pikachu.
What is it with France and rats? Why do they like France?
They're
and rats
dirty
so much?
people.
Okay. I wasn't gonna say it.
Back on topic. Like that seemed interesting to me because like I kind of like the idea of just you being able to control electricity and just kind of like fuck with the environment. I guess because like it sounds like that's what they were pitching. Like you go around with a spirit and you help people out. And the way that the rat traveled was through the electrical wire, so maybe they could just fuck with the environments and objects and stuff like that, and you can help people that way. That's what it came across to me, and if it is like that, that's something I'm super interested in, like looking into.
Yeah,
Mhm.
like that one was one of the ones I was really into. Like I might actually get.
Yeah.
I am an established sucker for farming games, but when they had the
You
roots of
fucking love
Pacha, I know, hard to believe. It's in that roots of Pacha, which was the caveman like farming game. I was like, oh, I never thought about like, hey, what if you're just the guy that discovers like irrigation and farming because like you're a caveman, no one else has done it yet. Like, oh, that's a pretty cute idea.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
How do you feel about Battle Cake, a snack-sized RPG? You play as little pastries.
you're a little cupcake.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's a lot of, you know what? There's a lot of indie RPGs that I would like to play.
Yeah.
There's,
Yep.
and I always mean to make time for. I never do. They just had. There was a game I almost kickstarted back in like 2011 that just came out this week, and I was like, wow, look at this. Boot Hill Bounties. It's like Earthbound, but also the Old West. It's like Old West Earthbound, and you're like, hey,
Mhm.
that sounds.
all you gotta
That's a
say.
good combination.
Yeah, man, that's all you gotta say. Now I'm interested in it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh god.
Look forward to playing on the Game Club, Bills. That was the Wholesome Direct. There was a lot there, actually. How about that?
Yeah.
50 games. It's not a small amount. Let's see. Any other big news of the week you good boys are aware of? Oh, how about this? Xbox did a little thing. Hey, we're still somehow figuring out how to do backwards compatibility better because a bunch of old games, I don't think they said all because I think this might create some issues for some old games, will on the Series X, including original Xbox 360 and Xbox One games, will run either at a higher frame rate natively with 60 FPS or 120 FPS support, and like old Xbox games that came out in like 2004 are going to be patched with HDR support, which I find to be a wild thing.
That is weird.
that like you can up a resolution, right? Because resolution has always been a thing. HDR wasn't even a thing. You know, like there was no idea for it back then, but they are able to figure out a way to get it to post fact get updated with it. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah. I mean, props to them for, doing that, because did they need to? Probably not. So that's cool.
But that is in general the news for this week. There wasn't a ton, but there was stuff to get to. There was a lot of video games, right? Oh, I guess one other minor thing. Keep an eye out. June 10th, we're getting a new Resident Evil game announced. We're only 2 months from the last one. Not even.
Oh,
What?
So
Wait,
we're.
Just a new one? Like you don't have any more details than that?
They just said keep an eye out. June 10th, we're announcing a new Resident Evil thing, and you're like, well,
Did Capcom say that?
it was from the Resident Evil Twitter account.
Oh,
yay!
okay. I saw it
Yeah.
posted on like some horror website. But that website is also the people who gave the original details about like Resident Evil 8, like so,
Sure.
or Resident Evil Village or whatever. So I was like, oh yeah, they know what they're talking about.
Yeah.
What if they're
So
right?
well, yeah. So who knows? That'll be June 10th. We'll see. And then besides all that, like I said, there's the Sony thing next week. So we're gonna have plenty to talk about, obviously.
Mhm.
But last week, I was gone. But you know what doesn't stop for any man? The list.
The list.
And last week we did was that a first time ever adding 2 games?
Probably not.
Maybe not.
Wait, you added 2 games?
I don't
Yeah.
think it was our first time ever, but we don't do it very often. That's for sure.
We don't do it very. It may have been the
I
second
added
time ever.
6 games at once. Okay?
That was
Uh,
That was its own
That's a
thing.
very special.
It
occasion.
happened.
God, imagine if you join now. We got to do like 22 games to catch you up.
All right,
I
I'll
mean, if
leave
it-
and then join.
If anybody, if we ever add any new members of the podcast at any point in time, I'm sorry, but you're not going to get to add 20-something games at once.
yes.
I
But we
overruled
did.
Brandon.
Saf added 2 games. He was going to add Dragon Quest XI because he's a turd.
It's a great choice.
But he didn't. Instead, he added Shantae and the Pirate's Curse at 94. And a big one, Shadow of the Colossus, all the way up at number 6.
Yeah.
Where it belongs.
Wow. High. It's high. I don't disagree with it that much, but it's very high.
I need to play it to figure that out.
No, he was going to pick it for the game club, folks. He was going to do it.
Literally 1 day away, Seth just put it on the list. I'm like, well,
There's nothing stopping you from adding it. You did it for
Except-
Metroid Other M, didn't you?
Except
We're
for-
not doing that again. We're not. That's a no.
Well, that was a different situation. That was there by default.
But Noah, you do have the
Hmm.
power now in this moment. No one can tell you now, except unless we haven't played it, to add another game to the list.
Yeah, I'm gonna add Origami to the list because I know me, Ills, and Saf have played it and beaten it together.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
I have not played it, so have that.
We have.
Indeed.
It is a stealth game. Basically, you are these vengeful shadow spirits that were summoned to take revenge for somebody. And I won't go into too much detail for spoiler reasons. But yeah, you basically move around, stealth killing, or just being sneaky, navigate through the levels. The unique mechanic of it is that you teleport between shadows, which is really cool. And like the art style really complements like with all the mechanics and like that. It looks really good. It's like it feels like it's like Japan. Like obviously it's like Shinobi, so you got like
It has that
Japanese
same
buildings
kinda,
and
like,
everything.
aesthetic, yeah.
But it's a weird cell shaded like not like what would be a good comparison? Like kind of Okami ish,
Yeah, a little bit.
maybe a little. Yeah,
Mhm.
it's really really cool and fun.
Yeah, generally it looks great, and you have to you cast your own shadow basically, and then you have to teleport to it. That's how you get around. But like all the other guys that you're trying to kill basically have lights or light sources, light swords.
Yeah.
If you get
Yeah.
hit once, you die. So you have to be
Mhm.
really careful, and
Yeah.
you have a variety of different abilities like kunai or shadow. What
Like
was it?
bombs,
Shadow
you can place bombs on their
smoke
back. So
bombs.
like
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like
you
when
have
they
to,
go
like-
to interact with each other, they just like get absorbed into this black hole. It's like really cool.
Yeah.
And the game ranks you as well in terms of like how well you've done, or as well as like what you've accomplished, which adds an extra layer of challenge in terms of like, and as well as an extra layer of replayability as well, which is pretty decent.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
So, if that's where do you guys feel like it would be appropriate place to put it?
Before we go ahead, do you remember the story of this game?
Yes.
Okay, because it barely registered with me.
It's not great.
It was.
I mean,
fantastic.
Yeah, it was enough to pull like the player along to go from part A to point B
Yeah,
with
I
a
mean,
reason.
yeah.
Yeah.
But you kind of.
There is a small twist at the end, but it's like
It's
was kinda
so like
obvious.
yeah, it's so obvious.
yeah.
Like it was.
The DLC though, like me and Nils played the DLC, and that was kind of cool because we got to see a different point of view from what
Yeah, it was like a
happened.
prequel to the
Yeah.
and you
Yeah,
get to
that
play
was-
as different characters instead of the same character, even though they do the same thing basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At least they were had personalities and stuff instead of just
Mhm.
being a vengeful spirit dude.
Yeah. So, where do we want to place it? Because I like this game, but there's still.
Mm.
I liked it because of the stealth element, and
Mm-hmm.
the visual style is interesting, but it's
Yeah,
played better
I'm-
games in terms of like
Yeah.
stealth. So
yeah.
I'm
I'm looking like around Mystical Ninja, Goemon, like Winback around there.
Yeah.
Mm.
What the fuck is
That's,
it?
like 113.
113,
Yeah.
114.
Yeah,
Yeah.
around there. Yeah.
That seems
Yeah.
reasonable. I would. I would put it below
Put it up-
Xenoblade. You want to go to put it above Xenoblade?
No, I was actually looking above Elite Beat Agents.
Okay.
It's weird because, like, I don't know. Like, Winback and Mystical Ninja, like, they were, like, really, like, they have, like, obvious drawbacks, but, like, they were really fun to play.
Yeah.
Mm.
So
And,
I mean,
like,
so
that's,
does,
like,
so does this game. I mean,
yeah, which feels the same, yeah, for Origami, but I don't know which one I would prefer. It's
I would-
weird.
I would genuinely prefer like Origami. Like, it was still fun, and the co-op element of it was actually pretty good as well.
Yeah, that's true. And there's a level maker, which is always a plus in my book. You can make your own levels and shit. This is.
That was.
I never got to do it to throw you guys in there to see how chaotic it can be, but
The harsh thing about the co-op is if one of you dies, you just have to wait until the other person either wins or they die.
reach the checkpoint.
It's pretty funny.
Yeah. Definitely, but it's always fun. Like, I think you played with me, Noah, and you also played with Ills.
Mm-hmm.
But with me, I remember it's just like I would be comfortable enough to get myself into some deep shit, and Noah would just kind of like sit and watch. Just like, okay, time to fix this problem.
Yeah, I mean, there are some times where if you run in there, you're destined to die.
Oh yeah, you're
like
fucked.
no
yeah.
point. And there's
It's
like the archers are like brutal, especially in the original game. Yeah.
Mm. There were some moments where like we would coordinate pretty well. Like would air kill some people, like jump off the building and like kill at the same time, or like I was about to get spotted, Ills would like kill him just before he does, and then I would cover him in the same way.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, and then we got moments where it's like somebody fucks up, it's like, oh shit, and I just start fucking booking it.
There's a lot of running. One of the problems I had with the game is like once you get seen by the light, you're fucked because you can't really cast shadows because it'll drain all your shadow power.
Yeah, you have like a meter.
Sucks.
You have a meter to be able to cast shadows or do stuff with your powers. So if you get drained, you can't do shit, and you're very vulnerable.
Very helpless.
100%.
Yeah. But, I mean, you kind of overpowered in the shadow itself, so it balances out. Kind of. Yeah, just gotta be stealthy.
I still put it below Xenoblade. Like, I genuinely had a lot of fun with it. Like, the story may have been lackluster, but like the gameplay was fantastic, and the co-op mode was actually really good as well. Especially with, as mentioned, like coordinating with your partner and trying to figure out, like, okay, I'm gonna attack this guy. You cover me and just make sure I don't get caught or like attack someone else.
Mm-hmm.
I would put it below Fire Emblem Fates. I think Fire Emblem Fates gets shit on a lot, maybe a little bit too much. But it's a good game, and I think it has more going for it than this game.
I'm fine with either of those choices, honestly. So,
Saf, what do you think about that?
I don't know. Like, do you genuinely believe that Aragami is worse than like Mystical Ninja Goemon and Winback and Elite Eight Agents?
Well, I haven't played Elite Beat Agents, but the other two, I mean, they're around the same kind of quality, I would say.
Should we meet in the middle?
Like where?
Above Elite Beat
Agents?
Alright, yeah, fine, whatever.
Sure. Yeah, let's just do that. 115.
All right. There it is. So, at 115, we have Aragami surrounding it. At 113, Mystical Ninja starring Goemon. 114, Winback, Covert Operations. 15, Aragami. 116, Elite Beat Agents. And 117, Fire Emblem Fates. That is the list. That is the podcast for this week. Obviously, before I do the plugs, I ask who wants the final phrase?
Saf wants it.
Sure.
Saf wants it. All right, so Saf, while you prepare yourself, we're doing that one for Xenoblade because it's out now. You see, you can, if you made it this far in the podcast, hopefully you enjoyed it. That means if you would do us the favor of rating us 5 stars on your podcast service of choice, following us on said podcast service, giving us the listen. Really, we always appreciate it because every Monday we go live with this podcast. Every other Thursday we go live with the Jump Up Supercast Game Club, where Ills, Noah, and Brandon sit down, have a nice conversation about a game that they've played over the last 2 weeks. It's always generally a pleasant listen. And of course, you gotta use it to keep up with the list. And then you can make sure you don't miss when those episodes go live by following us also on twitter.com/jumpupsupercast, where we post whenever we go live with episodes, or whenever we go live on our Twitch at twitch.tv/jumpupsupercast. Also, we have a YouTube if you like to listen to podcasts on that. We're just Jump Up Supercast on there as well. And also a Facebook if you want to follow us there as well. All that stuff appreciated. There's the plugs. That was a podcast. Hope you have a good one, everyone. But now, Saf, you've earned it. Your final phrase.
I'm so close to the launch of Xenoblade. and a beacon of fucking exploring the wilderness. If the episode doesn't go up on Monday, just be happy for me.